One of the people accused in the murder of a Clark Atlanta student could be released on bond. 21-year-old Alexis Crawford was killed last October. Jordyn Jones was Crawford's roommate, also her close friend at the time. In January, a grand jury indicted Jones and her boyfriend on murder charges. Attorneys for Jones will argue for her to be released on bond during a hearing that's going to happen tomorrow. Joe Hankey has the response tonight from Crawford's family.
The death of our beloved, beautiful, brilliant, and loving Alexis Janae Crawford has devastated every aspect of our lives.
Reverend Markel Hutchins this afternoon read a statement from Alexis Crawford's family after learning Jordyn Jones, who was previously denied bond, will have a hearing Thursday where a judge will reconsider bond.
I cannot imagine a judge granting Jordyn the freedom to walk around until her trial, while Alexis will never get to walk around anywhere ever again.
Investigators say Jones, who was Crawford's close friend and roommate, strangled and suffocated Crawford and then dumped her body in the wooded area of Exchange Park in Decatur. Jones's boyfriend, Barron Brantley, also charged in the attack and murder, in addition to being charged with sexually assaulting Crawford days earlier. A grand jury indicted the pair in January and they pleaded not guilty in February, though detectives say they admitted to at least parts of the crime when questioned.
And to now think that a judge could potentially grant a bond to Jordyn Jones for killing Alexis Crawford is just unimaginable and pours salt into those wounds.
A court filing shows the argument Jones's defense attorneys are expected to make. The filing reads, this defendant has no criminal history beyond a prior misdemeanor charge, has ties to the community, has no record or history of ever having threatened or intimidated anyone in her life, and has no indication that she is any type of flight risk. Upon the request of the Atlanta Police Department, prior to the filing of any charges, the defendant returned to Atlanta from Detroit, Michigan, and voluntarily assisted them in their investigation. And Crawford's mother says two of her other children also attend college in Atlanta. If Jones is granted bond and leaves jail, she would consider pulling her two children out of school over safety concerns. Jones's hearing is scheduled for 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in Fulton County Superior Court. We'll bring you any updates on the hearing on 11alive.com.